Greetings, class. I hope we are all doing well. So, for today's lesson, we'll look into mastering the art of video shooting. So, welcome to the world of video shooting. This presentation will delve into the key elements that elevate your footage from amateur to professional. We'll cover framing, camera angles, movements, composition, and continuity. In other words, we'll be equipping you with the tools to create compelling narratives. So you'll be with me, your video production facilitator, Christopher Ngalo. So first of all, let's talk about framing. Framing is the canvas of your story. One of the most important parts when it comes to video production is framing. So when it comes to framing, there is what we call the rule of thirds. So for example, if you just open your camera on your phone, you'll probably see a grid. If you can see a grid, that grid which is there is what can help you in working with the rule of thirds. If you don't have a grid, so just go into your settings, then you can be able to activate a grid. So you can work with the rule of thirds without a grid. Of course, when you get used to the rule of thirds, you can work with it without a grid. But with a grid is what will help you to learn about the rule of thirds. So the rule of thirds divides the frame into 9 equal sections. Placing the subjects at the intersection of these lines creates a more balanced and visually engaging composition. So you need to experiment with the rule to see how it guides the viewer's eye. For example, in this second image here, you see that the main character has been placed on the third axis, thereby working with the rule of thirds. Same way for this one as well. So instead of placing the character in the middle, to create a more exciting, a more visually engaging composition, they've used the rule of thirds. So you need to work with the rule of thirds. Another tool that can help you frame the right angles is taking note of headroom and lead room. So with the headroom, this one refers to the space above a subject's head, while lead room is the space in front of them. So maintain a balance of both to avoid the frame feeling cramped or overly crowded. So for example, the first image here, it's working with a nice headroom. Above the subject's head, there's enough space and enough room for the character to maneuver in your frame. So when you're taking your footage, make sure that there is enough headroom. Don't make it feel too cramped. For example, if the object is too close to the top of the frame, that means there is not enough headroom. So you need to make sure that you work with enough headroom. Right. So camera angles. Camera angles will help you with shifting perspective. So as you can see on the right on those pictures, there are different kinds of camera angles, and each one of them has a different effect that has on the viewer. So for example, these three, we have one, eye level. So this angle is natural and it creates a sense of connection with the viewer. It's often used for dialogue scenes or interviews. So this one is at eye level. That eye level kind of angle, it's a more natural kind of an angle which you can be able to shoot when people are talking to each other. Then we have the low angle. The low angle makes subjects appear larger and more powerful. It can add drama or emphasize their authority. So if, for example, you are shooting a film or a music video and someone is a bad guy and you want to portray their strength and their authority, use a low angle when you're picturing them. Then we have a high angle. A high angle makes subjects appear smaller and more vulnerable. It can create a sense of distance or emphasize their weakness. So that's for the high angle. So here we're just giving you examples. This is eye level, high angle, and low angle. Then we have camera movements. There are different kinds of camera movements. So some of the most important and the most common ones, we have panning. A panning is a smooth transition, so a horizontal movement of the camera. So the camera is coming from the bottom, it's going up. So that's what we call panning. So a smooth horizontal movement, often used to review a landscape or following a moving subject. So from left to right, up and down. So you're panning now. That's a pan. Then we have the tilt. So a smooth vertical movement used to review a tall building or focus on a specific detail. That's what we call a tilt. We'll see them proper as we move on with our course. Then we have the zooming. I'm sure most of us have come across zooming. So to zoom, it's a close-up or a pull-back movement. It's used to emphasize the subject or review its surroundings. So something which is very far, you can zoom it in or zoom it out. Then we have the art of arrangement. When you are shooting your content, there are some things which you need to take note of. For example, these five. We have balance. You need to balance up when, for example, content which is on the left and on the right in your frame needs to balance up. You shouldn't just have a lot of content which is on the left and on the right it's seeming a bit empty. Make sure that you balance up your content. Put the subjects, for example, in the middle to balance up. Symmetry the same way, balancing up left and right. Same way for asymmetry. It means it's more of the rule of thirds, where to create an interesting kind of a frame, the content is not balancing as such, but it's just giving a good effect. There's some items on the left and on the right, not exactly the same kind of weight, but still balancing up. So also take note of depth. It means, for example, you have someone standing in front, and at the back there are some cars, and behind the cars there's a tree. That's depth. So now there's layers to your angle or to your footage or to your content that you're shooting. There's depth, there's layers to it. Then leading lines as well. For example, if someone is walking into a gate, one side there's a closing gate, the other side there's also a closing gate. Or if you are moving through a corridor, you see that there are two lines. The lines can be the walls. On the left there's a wall, on the right there's a wall, and the character is moving in the middle. Those are leading lines. Those walls will act like leading lines. So take note of that too. These issues will help you in creating the best content. I'll show you examples as we go on. So in other words, composition involves arranging elements within the frame to create visual harmony and draw attention. Consider balance, symmetry, asymmetry, depth, leading lines, and other principles to guide the viewer's eye. So also think of continuity. So this is the illusion of time. For example, the 180-degree rule. This rule ensures that the camera stays on one side of an imaginary line between two subjects. It prevents jarring jump cuts and maintains a consistent sense of space. So that's the 180-degree rule. 2. Shot matching. Matching the size, angle, and direction of shots helps maintain consistency. For instance, if a shot ends with a subject looking right, the next shot should begin with them also looking right, just to show the viewer that they are still on that same scene. So make sure that you are consistent. Eye line match. So this involves matching the eye lines of characters in different shots. If a character is looking at a specific point in one shot, they should be looking at the same point in the subsequent shot, just like the shot matching point. Make sure that you are consistent with your angles. So beyond the basics, exploring techniques. So other things which you can also use to make your content, your footage more exciting. We have things like slow motion. This enhances dramatic moments or adds a sense of wonder to everyday actions. Time lapse. For example, if you're fast forwarding, you're talking about something which happened in the past and you want to show what is happening in the present within a very short space, you can do a time lapse. So this compresses time to showcase a longer process in a short span. This is ideal for capturing natural phenomena or urban development. Drone shots. Drone shots can also help you make your footage more exciting and more appealing. So it provides a unique aerial perspective, offering breathtaking visuals and a different view of landscapes or cityscapes. So as you master these techniques, remember that video shooting is an art. It's an art form. So you need to be creative, explore different perspectives, and experiment with various styles. Don't be too afraid to break the rules and find your own unique voice. So make sure that you embrace this journey and learn and just have fun. Thank you.